Okay, stop. Stop recording.
Nevada Classical Academy Oakville Regular Governing Board meeting for April 21st, 2026. And let's start with roll call, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Becker,
Dorothy Stanager, Amy Nelson, Kim Harris.
Hi, Thurston. Tim Geary.
Excellent. Okay, and we have a couple flags. So what is that?
Golden fist.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comment.
she had the tree, have kindergarten do the.
Yes, let's have them come on in during public comment.
Let's hear it. Okay. Is that okay? Perfect. Yeah. Hello, this is Miss Kelly's kindergarten class. We have 3 different things that we would like to recite for you today. The first one is the preamble to the Constitution.
We the people of the United States in order to form the orderly union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and prosperity, to living the Constitution of the United States of America.
Amazing. How did you guys do that?
How did you know? We did it a little bit over time. A little bit over time. It took us quite a while, but they got it.
I like how slow you went because we could understand every word. That was really nice to hear.
So our second is a poem. Our second one is Ba Ba Black Sheep.
Baba, sheep, have you any corn? Yes, sir, yes, sir. 3 bags for one for the master, one for the king, one for the little footlet down the lane.
Very good. Nice.
Our last one is Little Miss Muffet.
Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her, and frightened Miss Muffet away.
Good work, Ricky. It's a lot of hard work.
Thank you. Yes.
That's all we have for you today.
That's a whole 3. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's one.
It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Guys, spectacular.
Keep up the good work.
Good hard work.
Very good.
Her mom has control. I was her mom's birthday.
Good job, Judy.
Stevie, this is, I think, your staff.
Oh, yes, I have mine. This is Kelly. This is Kelly. Okay. Okay, so we will move on to number 3, official guest discourse. And we do have Jamie Dogman with the third quarter update.
Okay, so we are doing a raffle starting tomorrow for a grill that was donated very graciously by Home Depot. I gave a whole stack of these to Miss Denny to give to kiddos to take home today. But I do have a few extra flyers if anybody is interested. So we'll start selling those tomorrow at the Parent Academy. And then they will be sold through the month and the drawing will be held during the May Parent Academy. So that's our kind of our first fundraising effort. We will, I'd like to get a photo with some students that their parents approve with the grill tomorrow and get that to Home Depot. That was all they asked for, was just a picture to put on their community board. So it was great. So we'll do that, and starting to work on or gathering photos for a yearbook. So we'll get working on that so we can have something put together for the end of the school year for students. And then we just had a meeting. We've had a few meetings, and there's a group of 5 of us that have started showing up fairly consistently, which is good. So I think that's kind of the core group, and looking also forward to Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week at the beginning of May. So that's starts the week of May 4th. And we had a meeting earlier today and just talking about what we can do every day that week to help support our teachers and our staff here at NCAE. So already have members of the team reaching out to different businesses for donations for coffee and donuts and treats and stuff for our teachers. So more to come on that, which is really exciting. And then I think we'll just continue to grow and do great things as we move forward. But that's where we are right now. So
Awesome, Jamie. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll bring the grill. So the grill is currently at my house. We'll bring it in tomorrow and we'll have it displayed in the front office for folks to see when they're coming and going. And Dolores or Cynthia or whoever's at the front desk will be able to help with selling those tickets if somebody just happens to come in and wants to buy some tickets as well.
Very fun.
All right. Well, thank you.
Picture.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we will move to number 4, approval of the minutes from March 17, 2026.
Hi.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the March 17th board meeting.
Second. A motion from Lisa, second from Kim. Any discussion?
Excuse me.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Okay, now we'll move on to financial. A, review bank balances from the Oakville Federal Credit Union for donations and student generated funds accounts, Inc.
Did you email me?
I did. Thought I emailed it to you, forgot to press send, and then emailed it to you.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does it. That's been that kind of week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's lucky I went back to my office after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. It'll be Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
All right, so our cash on hand report, this is for the month of March last year. So we came into March with about 104,000 in our EFCU savings account. Had a little bit trickle in, a little bit of interest, and we pulled 33,000 out of that. I think it was primarily for furniture.
That was lease.
That was the lease. Okay.
Third payment on the lease.
Got it. Okay, so that was our third lease payment there. The EFCU checking, we brought forward 21,000. We deposited the 33 we pulled out of the savings, so it's just money moving from account to account, what you see there. We took 36,000 out of there for a final balance of 18,307.21 in the checking account. In the Nevada State Bank checking and operational account, we brought forward 5,900. We deposited 121,000. We debited 123,000 for a final balance of $3,476.56. The organizational checking discretionary account, we brought forward 44,1463. We deposited a little over 500 in there for a final balance of 49,49.63. We also have this $400,000 CD that is chugging along at EFCU. We brought forward 401,397. We had about 1,300 in interest on it for a final balance of 402,676. This will mature at the end of July. And that may be important to keep in mind in some later conversations. So for the month of March, we went into March with 500,000 or 537,733. We had deposits of 158,250 and debits of 192,784. You can subtract 33 out of both of those because again, money is transferring account to account. But our final balance was $504,501.95 for a monthly deficit of 33,231.30. Now notice that number 33,000. You take that lease payment out of there, we're almost breaking even. So what we saw last month, I think, is about typical. We're running a little bit in the red, not nearly as bad as it was a year ago. Questions on that? All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to financial report from Fusco Academy Management for Operations Account at the State Bank. We have Andrew.
Andrew should be on the line, yeah?
Yeah, hello. Sorry,
Let's turn you
just one
out.
sec.
They didn't present during roll call, huh?
Oh, we didn't get any of the online.
Okay, go, Andrew, say something, I'm turning you up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. All
Can
right.
you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Better.
Okay, just a sec. Let me share the financials real quick.
Colleen, you're there as well?
Yeah, Colleen's here.
I am. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
let me switch back to the.
Yeah, hold on just one second. I'm saving Hank's where it needs to be saved, so we don't lose it later. And I'm searching. Give me half a second, yeah. Okay, that's where it needs to go. There we go. Now you're live, Andrew, and they have a printed copy as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is the financial report for March 30, ending March 31st, 2026. So here's the balance sheet, your guys' balance sheet. So there was 3,000 in cash. Now this doesn't include the 492, 456.80 that's in the donation accounts. That this is just the operating account. This is accounts receivable, the PCFP money, and this is because you receive the PCFP money the beginning of the next month for the previous month. This is 7,000 prepaid insurance. that's getting expensed every month. This is the prepaid rent. So 11,000 was used in March, and there's 22,000 for April and May. This is your supply inventory. It's sitting at 12,000. There's about 6,000 in supplies that get expensed every month. And this is the furniture and fixtures and the depreciation, that 86 and that -3, 437. The accounts payable is 5,484, and these other short-term liabilities at 6,000 is your credit card. So that's the balance sheet through March 31st, 2026. And this is all accrual basis. So accrual matching expenses and revenues in the month that they're for. So this is a cash balance over time. And again, this doesn't include the donation account of the donation accounts of around 492, 456 as of the end of March 31st. Here's a statement of activity by month. Again, this is accrual, so matching, PCFP money with relative expenses in the month that they occur. So operating revenue was 955,047. This donation amount, this 308,111, that's not. So these are only the donations that get transferred from the donation accounts to the operating account. The monies that gets transferred over. So salaries and benefits through March 31st was 472, running about 50% of total revenue, inclusive of this donation account. And total expenses, general administrative expenses, were 301. And 90, and then this is the rental line, this 99,156. So there was through March 31st a positive net change in assets of 12,782. But remember, that's inclusive of the transfers, the 308,111 transfer, donation transfers. Okay, here's sorry, can you guys see that? Okay, so here's the draft. So basically this is, if you can see this 12,782. Basically all we're doing here is we're moving the year to date. You see this matches this 12,782. We're moving that to this column, and then we're comparing against the original budget. Now there will be an amended budget later on, because as you can see, some of the amounts aren't, we have some over and some under, and some over here. But I usually look at these total lines. So revenue, we're actually ahead, mostly because of the donations. The salaries, were actually under budget. And then here's where we're over budget on the total general administrative expenses. And then you can see there the 85. And then rent we're a little bit over as well. So that's the statement of activities budget comparison through March 31st, 2026. And then here's this is just a pie graph of the expenses. So this is all the expenses and what kind of their total and what percentage. The salaries is 50%. You can see here is in orange. You have the rent right here, professional fees 170, and then so on and so forth. And then this last slide is just the total budget. So basically, if you sum up this amount through March, it would equal this column right here in the budget. as we compare as we go along. So that is the financial summary for March 31st. Happy to take any questions you guys have. If there are any questions.
So Andrew, I know we talked about this maybe a month or 2 months ago, but the professional fees is kind of outdated, and then indented are always is like a breakdown, but it doesn't add up to the professional fees. And I remember you explaining it to us, but that's where my memory stops, is after you explaining it to us.
Yeah. So sorry. Could you repeat your question again? So you had a question about the professional fees.
Yeah, like, can you break down I see that the variants were actually under what was projected, but what does that entail, professional fees? Is it all of the indented stuff underneath it? And how does that add up to
Oh, okay. So
number?
yeah, if you look in here, the professional fees, so the only thing that's indented is this other expenses. And this is just kind of how the report is currently. We're looking at updating this for the next school year, so it's a little bit easier to read. But the professional fees is by itself, right? So these,
I can give you.
sorry, what was that?
I was just letting you know, I can
What
give,
that,
I'll give
how
the
that breaks
details
down.
on professional fees.
What does that include? Is that your contractors? Is that your?
So
Special
professional
ed.
fees include things like administrative services, so $4,000 for Paylocity, which is our payroll software that's used to track leave and pay. Professional development, so math, literacy, and classical education for about 45,000. Other professional services such as technical support for close to $9,000, Infinite Campus, NWEA, which is the company that we have for our map testing, close to $5,000. And then the biggest expense out of there, in addition to the CAM contract, is the amount of money, close to $54,000 that we've paid for school psychologists, occupational therapy, and speech therapy.
So CAM contract is included in this professional fee?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just in the future, I want to see that in this report.
CAM separated.
Yep,
Okay.
Well, just all the professional fees. And then maybe just a quarterly, but somehow like a breakdown,
Yeah.
just so we're aware of what we're spending out. And
Yeah.
there might be a point where there's a tipping point where it's cheaper to go internal or get
Yeah.
creative.
I don't care whether you do a quarterly or monthly or whatever, but I want to see it. Broken down every single time that we need those numbers. I mean, that's a huge number.
And it makes sense. You got all your testing, your infinite campus with the state, all your contracts.
And it's all okay, but I just want to see it.
Yeah.
And I want to see it on this budget. In a line item.
Brenda, do you know off the top of your head what are some of the cost drivers there in CAM contract,
She just said map testing,
testing?
all your infinite campus, using data, student database.
Student management system,
And that's all great. I
sped
just want to see it.
It's a lot.
training.
Yeah.
So that includes all the sped and training.
Consultant work.
Sure. All fine, it's all fine, but I just want to see it. I think as a board,
Tech support.
I think just as a fiduciary group, we need to see those things broken down.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if Cam doesn't want to do it, we could probably come up with a simple spreadsheet. But the Cam could do it for the extra 300 years.
they can.
So this is just a summary. Obviously we can work with Brandolin to break down anything you need. This is just so that kind of a snapshot, and it doesn't, like, there's obviously more kind of expense categories. It would make the kind of the report super long, but but we are working on a revised one to maybe break down the professional fees, and we're hoping to roll that out the next school year, so that that's broken down a little bit better. So perfect, great question, great question. Any other questions you guys have?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Andrew.
Any other questions on financial report from Pam? Okay, we will move on to the school leader report with Randall.
Oh, this is something I love. I'm where it is. So this is under your school leader tab. I'll just open it up here. Provide it for it. There we go. Okay. The best news of, well, there's lots of good news today, actually. So the good news from my personal side is I have finally chewed through this book. I've been telling you about this book for the last year. I finally got through it, and the most poignant quote I pulled out was actually not very much till the end. The individual finds purpose within an order and security, whether it is the order of the soul or the order of the community. Without order, indeed, the life of man is poor, nasty, brutish, and short. No order is perfect, but any tolerable order can be improved. So I would, if anyone wants to look at this book, you can. I would highly recommend you all read it. I have copies of you for you somewhere in this school. I will find them at some point. That I know they will show up. But super powerful, definitely reinvigorated me or kept, I don't know if I ever got uninvigorated, but anyway, reminded me and taught me how important order is and how that affects a classical school. So anyway, that's super exciting. And then the next book that I'm tackling is Disability in Classical Education. This is all about how to set up a SPED program that is honors the diversity of all of our learners. So I'm super excited to read about this and work on that as we set up our SPED program.
Randall, did you get that book from the conference you went to?
This book?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Recommendation.
Yes, I attended, there was a workshop, a half-day workshop by the author of this book. And I attended it, and there's actually a cool opportunity to potentially do some research into this theory that she's professing. So I had a quite lengthy conversation with her as a brand new school. We're kind of a beautiful test bed because we have like baseline that we can start from. So I really want to read this. And then I handed it also to our behavioral contractor, Michelle Canning, who is also reading it. So because there's some of this will inform school-wide, how we set up some of our policies and procedures to honor humans. And so far it's pretty fascinating, and maybe we can talk more about that later. But yeah, so super powerful. And this one was recommended by Steve Lambert, so I have to write him a letter and say, thanks, buddy.
Also.
So,
We have some questions.
You have a lot of reading in addition to all your reading.
Yeah, there she is, running a full school,
I know.
year one, finishing her degree and reads The Monster.
It'll take a year. I don't sleep a lot, but that's I
Summer's coming. Try to live up.
And then we just continue our classical education second and fourth Mondays with Mr. Bid. That will not continue next year because feedback from the staff, and this time is a hard time, 4 to 4:30. We're doing well. I don't want to say that we're not engaged, but it's a hard time, especially like in springtime. We have lots of baseball and soccer and all the things that are happening. And then Ben doesn't have the availability to mesh with our schedule next year, and we don't want to have it on Monday evenings anymore. So I have a different plan for classical education, professional development for next year. So just FYI, that will be changing, and you'll hear more about that later. So the conglomerate of staffing. So for school year 26-27, I've already started interviewing, and really, really good news that we have a school nurse and a part-time school counselor like hired, except that we haven't signed any paperwork, but they are committed to us and they are in the school right now on Fridays and other days, shadowing Koopman, Nurse Koopman, and working and being in our the counselor to meet our students and start understanding what we need for next year and why we need this position. So the nurse is Sheena Lee Smales, I think. I'm not sure, Smales, if that's how you say the last name. And the school counselor is April Madison, are two people that we brought in. We have a super strong candidate for second grade who's currently subbing for us. Again, she's committed to second grade. We haven't signed any papers because no one has signed papers for next year yet. And then we're still looking for special ed, third grade and first grade. But I did get a lead on a third grade teacher today, so I'm encouraged by that.
Is the second grade teacher local?
Yes, they're all local. Yeah, they're
Does
all-
that mean the staff is turning over? The current staff?
Just Ward is leaving and she'll come back as an instructional aide part-time.
Oh,
That's the only change right now.
oh, okay.
Are you hiring another first grade teacher? A second first grade?
We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, sorry.
Stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. So then I also am planning this school year 26-27. You guys, we're talking about year 2. Thank you. We are like up right at the end of year 1, and I'm talking about year 2. So year 2 professional development calendar. So next year, remember our calendar every Friday is half day Friday, which is awesome because we can do that much more training. And I'm working with regional professional development program to fill that calendar, plus our behavioral people. So I already am working on filling every Friday is going to have really nutritious, delicious stuff for our staff. And then tied to that and to kick us off, so one of the really important things is that we sometimes in schools, as we hit the end, we're like this. However, at Nevada Classical, we are like this. And I'm trying to demonstrate that to the staff that we are not slowing down as the year is coming. We are firing up so that we come back stronger next year. So we are going to do an experimental Observapalooza the week of May 1, which is a Friday, through Thursday, which is May 7th. And every staff member will be observing all the other staff members. And I have a whole schedule if you care, come see me. But the purpose of this is so that we can start to roll out. I have decided we're going to use the NEPF. I've received some more training and I think it's the best thing and the best use of our time. So we need to introduce our teachers to the NEPF and we'll do that through this Observapalooza, and we'll start talking about shared, another acronym from Brandolin, shared Lupe, shared language, shared understanding, shared practices, and shared expectations. So to grow this school to become world-class, we have to have shared language, understanding, practices, and expectations. And the first thing we have to do is see each other in our classrooms and understand how we're doing things similar, how are things different, so we can align that into what the expectation of the school is. So anyway, that's Observapalooza, experimental, happening the first week of May. And again, all of that is to model that we are not slowing down and to set us up so the first training of school year 26-27, we're building off of what we saw in each other's classrooms in our school. And that's teachers and staff. So everybody is observing everybody. And it also starts to give us a feel for our different roles. So anyway, any questions on that? That was a lot. Hearing none. Number 7, parent communication, getting the opportunity to meet with several parents over the last few weeks for behavior and or academics. So we have some retention kids we're talking with their parents about, trying to get them on board, what's best for their children. And then some of our habitual behavior, we continue to move in, try to team up with those parents to make that better. And then like Miss Jamie said, we have Parent Academy tomorrow night and the raffle going on for the library.
On those parent meetings, Brandolin, how's the general reception from parents? I know it's probably a mixed bag.
with regard to, yeah.
Just with regard to the conversations you're having with them, are they understanding? Are they?
Definitely understanding, typically supportive, wanting to support the school and align home with school, like some of the expectations. The retention meetings are, maybe less. They're trying to understand. They don't quite understand the importance of foundational skills and that if we advance children too fast, we're actually setting them up for failure later because school doesn't get easier. So we're having to do some education with our parents, those parents, and we just keep having the conversation in hopes that they will, by the time we have to make the drop dead decision, that they'll understand the decision and they'll be supportive of that. Yeah. Always better when we're all on the same page.
Yes.
And I think some of those meetings get heated, I'm not gonna lie. But we always come back, we always finish well. So the challenge with education is every conversation is emotional because it involves children. So emotions come up, then we get back to problem solving and we all end shaking hands and knowing we're doing what's best for children. Good, so, yeah.
Yeah, I was just sort of curious thinking about how these conversations could go and the nature of the conversations, whether you'd seen, you know, really emotional, I don't want to do this, I'm putting my kids somewhere else sort of conversations, or if they're actually conversations, right? They're actually understanding what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think so. So number 9, Joe and I are still on the back burner and over the summer we'll get our board book up and running. We did receive, so this is part of the really good news. We did receive direction on the exceptional enrollment growth adjustment that we will have to do for school year 26-27. So if you jump down to marketing, it's just where I put it. If you look at our numbers, so today, or yesterday we had 89 students in the building, highest yet. So that's exciting. And then next year, this is what our numbers are looking like. We have, and these are numbers for parents who have responded to Renee, have started filling out paperwork. There are return students who have filled out the intent to return information. So these are like our active parents. There are actually numbers beyond this that are parents that we have not yet heard back from that are kind of out there in la la land. So these could go up. But we opted to show you like the real, what we would say like the real numbers. So we have 31 current kindergartners planned for year 2, 28 first graders, 31 second graders, 25 third graders, and 17 fourth graders, which would give us a total of 132 students in the building. And this number right here, ironically enough, we thought we would have 2 first grades. This is the number we're really watching because, like I said, there's quite a few on that list that haven't responded out. So we may be thinking about actually having a second grade. There's a whole lot of conversation that has to happen behind all of this. The state is not concerned with how we distribute our students. The state is concerned with total number of students in the building. So how we decide when the time is right, are we going to have 2 first grades, 2 second grades, whatever we decide, that will be a decision we'll make a little bit later. But the good news is we get to have that conversation. And hence why back up here, we have to fill out this exceptional growth enrollment adjustment because we are blowing past the enrollment that we applied for when we were so low. So we should have just left everything.
Our last
Yeah.
amendment.
The adjustment for the adjustment.
Yeah,
Who knew this was possible?
yeah, who knew?
Brandon, what is the high side of that estimate?
The one that we submitted.
No, the
Of these
132.
numbers, if everybody starts
Well,
being
we
active, I
have,
mean,
you're gonna get people in the summer and.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if everyone on our, if we could, so this becomes the issue, right? For example, first grade, a class of 28, that's a really big class. But if there were, So if our total spreadsheet of all the people we have that have expressed interest in the school, it's close to probably 145, maybe 42, 10 more maybe. Plus, pretty much every week we're getting applications. Application trickles in. So, and like I said, this is going to become a hard decision. What do we do? Because as a brand new school, we also technically we have a waiting list for first, second, third grade right now because these classes are over 25. So we actually have a waiting list. So I have some hard decisions to make a little bit later as the summer unfolds and how we're going to run out our school.
Something to consider that we ended up, because you always get these wonky numbers. Just, it just can't be clean, 45, split 22 each. So we did these, what they call image classes. Where you would, and you couldn't commit till you really knew, right? But we would know that one of our teachers was either going to do a combination 1-2 class or a combination K1 class. And you teach the first grade material, not so much the reading and the math, but the first grade social studies. And then the next year, the kindergartners get the kindergarten with that new looped in class. So you just have one teacher that might end up being a 1-2 combo or a K1 combo on standby. And then when the numbers come in, let's say kindergarten gets lucky enough to have 40, then you just do a 20-20 split. But the K1, you got to take 10K and 10-1 to, so you have one class of 20 that's a combo class and 2 20s that are, so that's kind of how we would do. We always had that limbo teacher that was willing to say, I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And then wait till the numbers finalized in August, and then we told people what their assignments were.
Exactly.
It's tricky because these are wonky numbers.
They're super hard numbers.
So tell me this, so this is our first year in 4th grade, right? So are all these 17 students, are they all coming forward from last year?
About 14 of them are, and then we have several new 4th graders coming in.
Was 14 the largest class size we had in 3rd grade?
Our current class is 15, it's the largest.
So we had one person that's not coming back. Okay.
Or something to that, so maybe we have 17. But we do have new kids coming in. I can't remember exactly, too many numbers.
Do these numbers reflect the possible retention? Or is this the actual grades?
So it is actual right now.
So there still is a chance that a couple of them.
Yeah, there will be shifting it
Great.
within, just with retention
Yep.
here. And EIAA, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, but they have not, I don't think EIA has announced close their lottery. So we may get another influx once they alert their families of who's in. And the people on the street will hear that there's another charter school.
Yeah.
The word's getting out, huh?
Yeah, so anyway, so good problem, great problem to have. The really, really beautiful thing is we budgeted for 112 students. So no matter what, we have figured out how to run this school off of 112 students. And so if we end up with 130 some odd students, that will be a lovely position to be in because we can shift our budget and be in a much, much better financial position. But until then, we're going to just keep the 112 until I see their whites of their eyes on August 17th. 112.
That's right.
Right? So
Have you heard any feedback from parents about the after school program? Any enthusiasm?
with lots of interest in the after school program, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah, lots of interest. So let's see, let me go back up because I skipped down to show you these exciting numbers to justify why we have to do this exceptional enrollment growth. So this adjustment here is like a stepwise process. So the very first thing we have to do in May 1st is send a memo, which I'll do, that says, yes, we're going to apply for an exceptional enrollment. And then like weeks later, I have to show a financial impact. And then weeks later, we'll get audited to see if these numbers are real, and then it would be approved. So it's a little bit of a process, and we'll just walk through it together to get there.
So I think I missed something. Is this for budgetary, are we gonna get more money? Is that why we have to do this?
Yeah, because it changes our per pupil
Right.
funding.
Okay.
Then Hillsdale, they shared the new American history and civics curriculum. So teachers I've shared that with them. It's an electronic format. So they were excited to receive more updated curriculum. And May 13th is approaching to get that off my plate, Grand Canyon.
Yay.
Yay, almost. Budget wise, year one data is helpful to set up year two because we actually know how much it costs to run this building and all those details, operational details. Hank and I have met, and Hank and I will continue to meet monthly from this point forward. He's creating and will help with tracking, month to month tracking, and then we have some plans on how we're going to better manage cash flow, so that we maximize our financial status. And we can really now, we understand operational costs, instructional costs. Like I said, we know how much each month we need to put aside to keep the lights on and the building warm, and then how much it costs for materials and stuff. So it's wonderful to be again in this position where we have some data and we can actually use year one to inform year two, and then we can actually stick to the budget and make decisions based on a budget because we have a sense of what's going to come next. So all that's encouraging, and I'm thankful that Hank's willing to meet, and like each month we'll just work through this together and make it better, get a better sense of the budgeting. The testing, the reason the room is set up like this is because third grade has been doing their SBAC. That's the Smarter Balance test that's required by the state. So they've been in here every morning testing. And I cannot tell you, so we had a little bit of a technical glitch. We had all the kids in here, their Chromebooks. We go to the test and we found out, whoops, there's one more step we have to do. So we told the students, just kidding, everybody, we're not going to test it. And they were like so disappointed. They were so sad.
Not typical.
I know, because we've been helping them up like, this is a time to show your awesomeness. Like, all I want you to do is go in there and show me how awesome you are. So they're like, all ready. So then we work the technical issue, blah, blah, blah. We get with the teacher, Mars, good news, we can test. And I was standing outside when she said, guys, we have a choice. We can test this afternoon or wait till tomorrow. And the class erupted and said, hey, let's test. And I was like,
Oh,
and so they came in here and they were just like diligent, like, and I just told them, just be awesome. So anyways, I have never experienced a school so excited to test. So that will continue tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Thursday will be their last. There's 4 different tests they take under that SBAC. And then our whole school will do spring map testing the week of May 18th. And I'll show you later in the agenda some data from our winter map testing. So our kids, you know, they just like to show off they're awesome. That's what I keep telling them. Just show off you're awesome. So marketing, I gave you that update. We did attend the kindergarten fair on 4/18. It was terribly attended by the public. I felt bad.
It was a Saturday.
It was super small. Yeah, they had a terrible turnout.
Yeah, they
Saturday.
did.
Last year it was great. This year,
It's been good in the past.
yeah, it was terrible this year. So I felt bad, but we talked to probably 5 families, other than the families that we already have.
How do you think it was poorly this year? I don't know.
I don't know, maybe just the timing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Too many variables.
Yeah.
Everything Elko Article 5 out of 6 has been submitted, so we have one more run at everything, and then we want to do that year-end letter from the board that Lisa's heading up, and then I'd like to do like an open letter to the public in the newspaper, just thanking them for supporting us this year. And I think that's a really neat thing that we could just have published that last week of school. So I'll work on that. What else? The number 13, the school-wide behavioral assessment has been completed. I have the report. Michelle and I met on Friday. Some really encouraging data, both things we are doing well and we want to continue, as well as identify needs that we can improve on. And so I'll share with you that in May. and talk to you a little bit about the professional development that go along with that and some of the changes that we'll make based on that. And then the facility, I think it's serious time that we need the expansion committee to stand up, because you can see our numbers are growing fast, and we are not gonna fit here that long, and we need to have a plan in place because it's coming fast, guys. We're talking about year 2, which means pretty soon we're gonna be talking about year 3.
Yeah.
So, I think it's time that the board starts seriously figuring out, expansion, and, given all that's happening, there may be some opportunities that we don't want to miss coming abroad or coming towards us. So we probably need to have some plan and process of which we are going to make decisions when opportunities may or may not arise. So just putting that bug in your ear as a need from your school leader, because I cannot also run an expansion committee right
No.
now. So any questions on the school leader report? That's it.
Who was it that did the school-wide behavior assessment with you?
Crossroads Behavioral, Michelle Canning's their leader, and then 2 other behavior, 2 of her employees. So 3 people were in the building holistically over 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
Collecting data.
My only thought thinking about the testing is, we've learned about growth theory as opposed to, well, basically we need to reinforce to children how hard they work and their grit and their perseverance, as opposed to, oh, you're so smart, or oh, you're so good at math, or you're such a good reader. It's like your effort
Yes.
with testing. It's not about how brilliant or smart or amazing you are, but how hard you work.
Yes.
Because then that's motivating everybody. Even if I struggle with reading, I can work hard.
That's right.
Work harder than the next person. So that's awesome. Okay, any questions for Bradley on her leader report, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
Favorite part of the meeting. Okay, hearing none. Committee reports, we're gonna have an expansion discussion soon, but we're not there yet. Okay, old business number 8, none. New business, quite a bit. Okay, we will start, actually, I'm gonna delegate the new business A board member vacancy to Brandolyn and Lisa, except you guys were the ones who were hoping to get applicants.
I talked to one parent who said she was interested, but I have yet to receive any written documentation. So that's all I have.
And I haven't received any from anybody either.
I had a candidate
Oh, go.
and they did have a candidate.
Oh,
I even got a letter of interest, but then she contacted me and said due to certain circumstances right now, she didn't feel that she had the time to put towards it. So I thought I had it. I was so excited.
Ooh, Dorothy.
I do have a letter of interest from her, and it's from Patty LaGarza.
Oh, nice.
And, but the qualification, I guess, there is that we had hoped for a Hispanic person in this position. And, I've been meaning to go by and I have not, but I thought that somebody worth consideration, Lisa and I talked about this, was, the folks at La Fiesta, not La Fiesta, but Dos Amigos, the Ruiz family is very influential in the Hispanic community. And George Ruiz Jr. is really, I think, I don't know if he'd be interested, but he and his wife, I think, would be at least worth approaching. So I'll try to follow up on that.
And their children are in elementary school. Their children go to grammar. So it would be like if my daughter was in kindergarten with their son, it could be a potential, like bringing students.
Do you know them, Jamie, or?
And not well,
Yeah, me
but
either.
I'd be happy. I I talk about the school to anybody who will listen to me.
You're gonna go have dinner at the restaurant.
Well, and that, you know, I've been remiss in that, and I apologize but I think that might be a good resource to explore. But Patty is definitely interested in serving and should be bringing, I think, a letter of interest to you. We just got an email from her today.
We discussed moving up to 9 based on the fact that we need to start having these committees getting all active, so the more the merrier.
And she might be a good one to have on an expansion committee.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, I'll let we should have a little bit.
We're moving. It's a process. I think you have the letter.
I got
Right there,
name
you
dropped.
can sign it.
Yeah.
Back out. But-
No backup.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's good. We're moving, you know,
Keep track.
it's a process. Okay. So we don't have anything to entertain at this point. B, tentative school year 26-27 budget review. Format submitted to the.
Hold on, I think I have not the latest agenda. Hold on, one,
Is that this build at least?
two, oh, I know a better place to go. I think I may have, because we had to add this important, agenda item. Let's see if our. Yes, okay, so the agenda on the screen is the accurate agenda. I apologize. I must not have saved over the one that is in our folder. This happened super fast and we had changed it just in time that we could post it for this meeting. So. Oops, too big. So B, this is.
Oh, we missed a B.
Yeah, review and approve AB
I can
398
read it with
salary.
my glasses on. Review and approve AB 398 salary increase allocation. That's this paperwork right here.
Yeah, so, yeah, you have a paper that looks like. I think we pulled it up, Amy, so everyone can find it.
Has all staff with salaries.
So we, so AB 398 was obviously a bill that passed, that increased, allowed for salary allocation increase as retention and recruitment strategy for teachers. And this is the second year, so fiscal year 26, we didn't apply, we didn't qualify because we weren't open when they were doing the process we're doing right now. But we qualified for FY 27, so for next fiscal year. And so based on our employee number, we qualified for a little over $43,000. And so we had to allocate it amongst our staff. And you can see there, that's how I propose that we allocate it. And this is like a one-time allocation. So we are not increasing their salary forever. We are giving them a one-time allocation of that amount. And out of that amount comes the PERS, additional PERS, so that we don't have to come up with that out of our budget. So like as a budgetary item, it's like a neutral, but our teachers and our instructional staff will benefit from a little financial boost one time.
Is it gonna be a one-time? Why did they just call it a bonus? As opposed to doing a PERS and all that nonsense.
It's just the way they had to do it. This has been like, they have been working on this, like I didn't ad nauseum for a long time. And then, like I said, we just got looped in for FY 27. So some of those questions they have been asked and answered over the last year. And then, yeah, so that was great news. We didn't expect to be part of this and we are. So what we need is the board approval that that's how we want to allocate the AB 398 salary money. And I don't know if you can read on there, but it's only for teachers and educational support staff.
And it's a one-time
It's a one-time.
shot, and it's prorated over the their salaries, or is it gonna be a one-time?
I think, if I understood, they can get it one time, but the PERS has to come out each first check or something. It's complicated.
Course.
But Colleen is very knowledgeable because they ran it through Founders last year because they qualified last year. So they already have all the systems on how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's good news because I watched several of the meetings and it was very convoluted. It appeared very convoluted to me. So, yeah, so that's, I mean, we can distribute it however we want. That's how I propose we distribute it.
Yeah, the thing I don't like about the way they do this is it's like, you can see number 5 in the worksheet data entry, it talks about budgeted salary and raise. So it gives that impression, like, that's why it's like, you should just stick to a $4,000 bonus, no yours, no nothing, keep
Yeah.
it plain, here you go.
Yeah.
Because then they're saying, hey, what happened to my raise?
Right. So when we
Explain it, but
communicate,
it's-
so in the contract, Colleen has language for us, so it's another good reason we haven't signed year 2 letters with our teachers, because it will state base salary, what we're paying them base salary, and then it will have one time, it's not a bonus, but whatever the language is, I can't remember what, one time allocation, the dollar amount.
Right.
And then when we have the teachers sign it, I'll make sure to make the point, like, this is a one-time thing, this is your salary, right, starting for next year. Yeah, it's a little bit
It
complicated.
is, when it says salary increase amount, it's just, that's not the proper language. But
Yeah, it's a way of
yeah.
getting around the unfunded raise.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not making school have to be accountable for that money as a raise for future years.
Right. Yeah, it works out well, except it's the language of it sounds like it's.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a salary increase. It says salary increase. Well, that means my salary's increased as opposed to a one-shot bonus. But again, some of us are hyper aware.
And are the returning teachers getting a salary increase?
2%,
And that's already included here.
yes, from there, in the base salary.
And this is for next year's license.
Yeah, FY22, that's why you had that works now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both licensed teachers and instructional aides and support staff,
And that's just across the board, Brandon, everybody gets that increase.
the 2%.
Right.
Yes.
Think that looks reasonable.
Yeah, I think so.
That's exciting.
It's always fun to get money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
when we're not obligated to,
It can be a good push to keep people very excited.
yes. And it's statewide, every school district out in the charter schools, that's nice. Or is it just charter schools that got this? Or was it something that was AB 398 was every public school?
I don't know, I
don't
don't
know
want
either.
to misspeak,
I used to pay attention.
I don't remember.
But. Okay, so we need to get a motion to approve the breakdown.
Please, yes.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a move by Tim, second by Hank, to review and approve AB 398 salary increase allocations. Any more discussion? Okay, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
And I do have the sheet up here for you to sign, so.
Okay.
Before you leave. Okay, so
All right,
now we're
move
back
on
on to this.
To tentative school year 26-27 budget review and format submitted to the school charter authority. So is that in our packet as well?
So I didn't print out, I gave you just the cheat sheet of the tabs because it's a monster but I emailed it to you so you can go back. And we don't have to do anything with it today. This is in preparation. This is some pre-work for our May meeting.
Okay.
So remember in May, we have to meet twice because for the budget, we have to have a public hearing for the budget. So remember we did this last year. So this is just to give you a chance to think about this because May 19th, we'll have a budget meeting, open a meeting, have a budget hearing. You guys will vote on this tentative budget and we'll have to make some updates based on this AB 389 money. So there'll be some updates between now and May. And then in May, you'll approve it. Then we close the budget hearing and then we open the second meeting, which is just our regular general meeting. So just remember that process. So I just wanted to give you, the numbers are no different than what you have approved. You approved at the previous meeting. Andrew and Colleen have just put it in this format that the state requires us to use. And we did this like last year too. And I just gave you the cheat sheet of what each one of these tabs are. Because like I said, it's quite a beast. So we have, like I said, we do have to make some changes. So what you see in May will not be exactly what you see here, even though this has been submitted to the state as a tentative budget, as a task that we had to complete by April 15th. But again, the next one is due to the state in May after our public hearing. So these are just all the tabs where the numbers that you all approved last time have been put into the appropriate tab. So we have a choice. We can walk through each one of these tabs and look at dollars. We can wait until May because like I said, there will be a little bit of change based on some of the information we've had. And we can do it in May, but I want to give you a chance that you're seeing the complexity of what is being turned into the state and to just make sure your questions are answered and that sort of thing.
When do you think those small modifications will be done?
Andrew and I can work on those probably in the next week, and then I can send out the updated, all the schedules and all that jazz.
And what did we put in for the planned revenue from the pupil funding? What student number?
112. So this number here, let me use my cheat sheet, B1, whoops, is where we need to go. So like this here is our tentative number for 112 and it's 1.146.
This is a legislative year, correct? Is it?
No.
It's not. Okay, so.
That's good.
So does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yes, I was just thinking per our conversation about enrollment, that the revenue piece of this is likely very low
Yes.
related to,
Yeah.
Which is good.
which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really to the other way around, which we've experienced.
Yeah.
And we're not changing that enrollment number for the years, but
I'd say no.
I agree.
Agree.
Until, like I said, until we see their whites on August 17th, and then our enrollment audit will catch up with us, and then our per pupil will increase, and then we can go back and update how we want to update.
We only have to do
Yeah.
that form again if we have a 10% or higher increase though, right? That we only have
After
to
we
do
do
that
this
adjustment.
other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just-
Yeah.
Perfect.
And we'll be so much smarter when we write this, the egg or something, I can't remember the short acronym. But we'll, again, it's wonderful to have a year under our belt, like we can just make such better decisions. So I think if I'm understanding Hank's question, maybe what we want to do is wait, I'll get it all updated to the best of what we know, and then I'll send it out to you guys. And we don't have to, like I said, there's no decision has to be made. This is just to prepare us for May so that May is less tedious. So you guys can flip through these and use your little cheat sheet and see what's where. And,
Save it as a PDF and send it to us so we don't accidentally
okay.
touch a number and mess something.
Yes. Save it as an XLSX and send it to me, please.
So your recommendation, if I hear what you're saying, Randall, is we just table this until the next meeting?
And yes, unless you want to start going through it, we can.
No,
I was just, yeah.
there's gonna be too many changes.
It is. See,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll make way more sense here, because we know our
But I hear you
wages, we know
saying.
our salaries, we know.
I think you mentioned this when we looked at the budget the last time, but you included budget in here for the after school program.
Well, actually, that's on my question mark for Andrew, because when I was going through this in preparation of today, I didn't see that we included any after school. That would be called, I think, the enterprise fund, and I didn't see anything in there. So that's one of my questions to confirm what we want to put in there.
I was just thinking about any big changes that for next year that we want to make sure.
Yeah, so I have that.
I'm still here. So typically with like the enterprise funds, especially it's the first year, we wouldn't like include that in the budget, and then as we go along, we can like amend for that money. But it's usually better to have like a more of like a bare bones, especially if we don't know what the exact number is going to be.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Brandon, when you send it out, please send me the Excel specs and I'll do some work.
Okay. I got it both here.
Figure out how we'll look as things change.
That's where you do the risk analysis and all that. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. So we could have him do a presentation on that as well.
Yeah.
Next month, what risks or gaps or.
Yeah, and maybe that's a question to throw out for the board. What cost drivers in here are we really concerned about looking at? Obviously, enrollment's probably the single biggest.
Yes.
What other drivers are we maybe concerned about or maybe worth modeling?
I'm curious for this year if our budgeting for the first year was sufficient for curriculum materials. Is that something that was, because that was a big chunk of the budget, but I think it was also kind of a guess.
Well, and you have consumables, so we have the novels and all that stay there every year, especially in elementary, you have a lot of consumables that next year you gotta read.
Yes.
And then my concern is just with the numbers, what the staffing. If we have to throw in that teacher that does the combined class, what does that do? What is not doing it with larger class sizes with an aide in there or?
Yeah, we've got to look
Yeah,
at
we can look
increased
at-
staffing levels if we're looking at increased numbers. Is
We-
the question.
Then we have to have a second classroom for potentially, well, for sure for fourth grade, but then we may have a roll up and have two classes for that combined class, or if kindergarten comes in with 40 or first grade, you know what I mean? We're gonna have other classrooms that we have to furnish. Maybe we have extra seats already, but
And I think the one thing we did not budget well for was sped.
Oh my God.
because it's unfunded, it's an unfunded.
So we really need to run some strategic thoughts on that.
And that hasn't been reflected in the draft here, increasing the sped budget. Or hasn't.
I thought that was.
I think, no, I think we accounted for what we spent. So it's our current budget is based on what we spent. So it's been accounted. for.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
But I can look at that too. What happens if we have a higher 1% limit?
yeah.
It's always a wild card because you don't know who you're gonna get and what their demands will be. But that's it. Okay. So this was just a preliminary tentative review and discussion, so,
Yeah, just to get us grease for May.
okay. And again, send ours PDFs and Hank's as a spreadsheet, and then we can have him do the risk analysis within this line item, really, or this budget. Okay, anything else under budget review that you guys want to see? See, academic review and conversation with teachers. Okay, sounds exciting.
So those are the slides that are in your packet. And this was, Lisa had a request. She wanted an academic update, so I probably should have asked more questions, but this is what I put together. As I was working out, I should have asked her exactly what it was an academic update.
You'll find out if you didn't hit it, what we're
I'd
gonna.
like to see some colors on some pages with some
Yeah.
numbers.
So that's what I got. Perfect. Yeah, last night as I'm working on it, I was like, I should have asked more questions. Okay, well, here's where we are. So this is comparing winter to fall MAP scores. So MAP scores are that the test that we have students do that measures growth in math and reading. It's not super great news, but it is also one data point, and so don't get too excited because we'll wait to see what happens with the spring numbers, and then part of this is just figuring all this out. So I remember this is up here was the October numbers. You guys were super excited because we had a genius school, and now in February, you see that we're actually a real school.
Very average.
So our average went down. It's kind of hard to see, but we also added a few more students, and then our average went down. But interestingly, like our red didn't increase. We just lost some of our high achievers. Moved into more of this green and yellow. Winter map testing happened very quickly because for a variety of reasons. I don't know that we prepared our students to be showing off their awesomeness like we have for the SBAC. And like I said, the newness of school has kind of worn off. So we saw quite a bit of students just not fully engaged into taking this test. We saw much more rushing. So MAP can monitor rapid guessing. And so we had several tests that we had to stop, have a conversation with the student, restart. So all those types of things influence these scores. And again, this is just great data to help us sense where we are, but we don't want to get too wrapped around the axle right now.
Is that reading or math?
This is overall holistic school.
Oh, okay.
This is math, specifically math, by grade. And I've got a little bit better data, but this is just the data that math gives us. So again, we see like we move from a lot of these greens down into lots of yellows. And again, this is something you can nerd out on if you want to. You can go study where the changes are happening. This is an interesting change, this big red here. I was kind of curious what happened with one of our kinder classes because other data shows a little bit different. But anyway, a little bit of a drop to be maybe expected. I don't know. I haven't been doing this enough. This is a class comparison. So this is getting specifically, so we can pull, they're called RIT scores. So every child receives a RIT score. And I can compare their winter RIT score to their fall RIT score. And then I can assign it, did they increase, did they stay the same, or did they go down? And that's what, so in math, that's what this graph is showing. So like for the third grade class, about 30 some odd percent grew. So their RIT score went up. About a third went down. And when I say went down, the standard deviation is plus or minus 3. So they had to go down more than 3 points, or they were within plus or minus 3 of their fall score. So they basically stayed the same. So interesting, third grade is really interesting because it was a third, which I think is really curious, and we'll just have to track that and kind of watch what's happening there. This class is super exciting, K2. This is Kelly's class, actually. They don't show any decline. We had huge growths in that class. So that's
Interesting to see their spring.
yeah, it'll be super interesting, right? The rest, like the story continues. And then again, we have quite a few that are just kind of neutral, that just kind of are staying. So we'll continue to track this and watch and learn. So this is the same graph, but for reading. So third grade through kindergarten. Again, that K2, that one class didn't have any decline. So we'll see what happens there. Third grade had this huge decline. I don't know what that's about because they're reading like crazy in there and they're doing such great reading work. So I'm not sure what happened here. Who knows? So other thing you always have to consider like these small sample sizes, right? So the N is the number of students that were tested. Oh, that 10 is not, that's probably supposed to be 21. They haven't done that one. Anyway, so you also have to be considerate. Oh, these two are opposite. This should be 10 and this should be 21. I don't know how I managed that, but anyway. You have to be kind of careful too, because one student can shift things quite big when you have such small numbers, such a small sample size. So But still lots of green in reading. We are reading like crazy in this school. So exciting.
Do these, sorry, somebody who has experience with math testing, maybe that's a question for Amy. Do these tests assume that the students are advancing during the year?
Yeah, because you're
So-
making growth, say, so you come in at 219, well, my numbers would be way off,
Sure.
because I'm probably going higher grades, but say you start the year and average is 219, you're automatically in the fall, the winter test, it should be 222, let's say.
Okay.
So some of them may be 220, so they are gonna be red, you know what I mean? They might have made growth, but it wasn't enough.
That's kind of what I was
Yeah.
wondering, if they actually stayed baseline and didn't learn anything, but tested the same, then their score would be lower.
Yes,
Good show.
because they're expecting growth.
Not
like 3
necessarily
points or
that these
6
guys
points.
are walking backward, that they've
Right.
lost things.
Yeah, if they stayed the same, then they're gonna be red.
Yeah.
Because they're not growing.
Yeah.
And that your question actually leads perfect to the next slide and what we will start to measure. So we're curious about two things, right? We're curious about growth and we're curious about achievement. So you may be a super high performer, but if you're not growing, that's problematic.
Yeah.
Or you may be growing leaps and bounds,
But you're still low.
but you're still low,
Yeah.
right? Because you came in really low.
Yeah.
So and we can use map data to start to see where we are as a school. And this is, this is their example. We can't do this yet because we don't have enough data as a school, but after spring, we should be able to generate one of these. But right now, our school is kind of hanging out in this area. So we're down here, kind of, creeping towards high achievement, but right now we kind of have lower growth, like we're kind of in this area. So where we want to be is here, right? This is where we want to hang out as a school. High achievement, high growth. So high kids are growing, low kids, we've got them up to where they're supposed to be, right? We want to be up in this high growth area. So that will come in time. The other thing we've been working on is we've started monthly grade chats. So I hope you can see this in your copy. I probably can't really see it. So I think I mentioned to you before I reviewed Q2 report cards with a fine tooth comb, and we had a school of genius. And we were giving away 4s like they were candy, and 4s are exceptional. So we grade on a 4-point scale. 1 is not yet, 2 is can do it but needs quite a bit of support. 3 is can do it without support. What you would consider quote grade level, proficiency, and 4 is like you could teach a college course on it. Like you know that stuff inside and out, no support, you came in like you are a rock star. And so when I was reviewing grade 2 or quarter 2 report cards, I was like, oh my gosh, we have so many 4s in this school, but I'm walking around and I see a lot of 1s and 2s. So 1s and 2s and 3s. And remember, standards are also year-long standards, so you shouldn't come in. A child typically does not start the year at a 4. Like that would not be accurate. So anyway, we instigated this thing we call monthly grade chats. And so we come together as a staff and we talk about the importance of this communication tool we call a report card. And we worked on standardizing what is a 4, what is a 3, what is a 2, what is a 1, what does that look like in your grade level? How do we know? And so this is Q2 report cards. This is Q3 report cards. And the good news is we see a much more realistic representation of what's in our school. And so I'm super thrilled about that. The teachers had to have some hard conversations with parents because a lot of kids went from 4s down to 2s or down to 3s or 2s. And so we had to have that conversation. And I'm super proud of our teachers for just stepping into it, saying we are truth tellers. We put it back into our virtues. We are truth tellers. And this is the truth about your child. And so hard conversations, minimal backlash from parents. I think our teachers did a good job. And now I think our report cards are better aligning to actually who we have in the building, and we'll continue these grade chats each month and just continue to get better and better.
And is that something that you'll incorporate into the staff training for next year?
Yeah.
Have that conversation training.
Yep. Early and often. And even in our virtues, because I hope you can see this, but in our report card, we report on our virtues and we also report on civic responsibility. So all three of our missional pillars are reflected on our report cards, and same, we had like every kid in here had E's. For virtues, and I was like, that would be amazing. However, that's not what I see on the.
I'm not living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you, we don't have.
Yeah.
We're in the wrong school.
Yeah, like that is not the student body that I see every day. And now we have A's are approaching, M is meet. We do have some exceptional behavior happen, and those should be called out. But typically, we're very much an A and an M and a 1, 2, 3 school, right? That's a totally normal school, and that's again, we talk a lot about being truth tellers, and we are telling the truth to our parents. So report cards are getting better. So that's part of the academic report. And then the last piece, my original vision was to have the teachers actually come in and talk to you. But then I thought, oh my gosh, that's going to get out of control and we will never get our board meeting done. So what I did is I sent out a survey. I had 4 questions for them. So we're going to go through those. So just imagine, just listen, just hear the teachers' voices when this is all teacher information coming your way. So the first thing I asked them is tell me of your celebrations and the things that you most are proud of for year 1. And these are their wins. IEP, that's our SPED students are hitting their benchmarks. Student preparedness to work and learn. Our students are coming in ready to work and learn. Some of our teachers are super proud of their social studies instruction. Some of our teachers are super proud of their classroom management. Some of our teachers are super proud of seeing the development of critical thinking skills in our students. You witnessed multiple times, you now have witnessed the amazing memorization that's happening in this school of all the poems at every grade level. Students are understanding why things are important to learn. We're not just teaching them what to learn, but we're also having conversations about why it matters. We got Q3 progress reports for our IEP students out to parents, and we got really some great feedback from parents about that they haven't seen this kind of commitment to their students from other schools. So that was encouraging. Super strong SPED communication with our instructional aides. So our aides are intentionally working with our students. And I would say that's true holistically, not just SPED. Really great conversations. And then Meet and Move Fridays, we're seeing gaps get filled. So these are the things that the teachers are celebrating. When I ask them, what do you need? So the check marks are like other people said the same thing multiple times. They're not necessarily quantitative check marks. It just means I heard it more than once. So the 3 is not necessarily indicative of 3 other people. It's just lots of people said more staff. As you guys have heard all year, we're all wearing so many hats any given day. Grading support for efficiency and efficacy. That's the grading chat that will continue, and then we'll train on that more at the beginning of the year. Better understanding of classical education in a practical sense. So we've talked a lot of theory, and we have like working with Ben, it's a lot of theoretical of what a classical education is, but we're now getting really curious, what does it look like day to day? And how does our operation change? And that is, as the administrator, that is the number 1 question I have to consistently ask myself is, how is this different than what every other school does? And how do we want it to be different? And how do I answer that? How do I toe that line?
Can you answer that?
It kind of depends on the question. A great example might be, for instance, a teacher came to me asking for more computer time for intervention. And I said, no, we don't put our kids on the computer any more than 45 minutes that we have to do for Nevada state standards. So that's a great example. Another example is reading the books. Question on, do we order another classroom set? Do they get to keep them? What are we going to do with these books that a class is reading? So going back, classical education, we're honoring literature, we're building a library, we're creating wonder. Of course the kid gets to take their book home. Why would I say no if the kid wants to take the book? Right. So it's these kind of thoughts, like, what do we mean when we say classical education, boots on the ground every day? It's from the littlest things like tuck your shirt in, tuck your shirt in, tuck your shirt in. I should get a quarter every time I say tuck your shirt in, tuck your shirt in. to the more, like I said, the more, what do we do as a class at school? Right? Prep time, always a need for teachers. More intervention time and support for intervention, which is connected to more staff. So we do have some big gaps. Maybe if we could figure out more how to do better intervention, more intervention.
Can I just give an example? I was in a classroom and this teacher asked me to work with 3 students, 2 of whom were reading in the same book and one was reading in a different book. And when she sits back there with them, she works with all 3 at the same time, but 2 are reading one thing and 1 are reading the other thing. And I don't know how she does it. I mean, it was insane. And I felt very ineffective. And so the more staff thing to me is huge for intervention and support. Huge.
And then the last one is understanding of those standards. So those are Nevada academic content standards with concrete correlation to the Hillsdale program guide. So we are doing a lot of work, and I'm already going to bring in some teachers over the summer to do some instructional guide work so that we do have this concrete correlation between Hillsdale and Nevada academic content standards, so that, and then that feeds back into our grading, which feeds back into our proficiency, which feeds back into intervention groups. So they're all tied together, and we're just trying to figure out how do we do all of this to best serve our students.
I know that we talked about this with founders at one point, that they had this all mapped. Did we ever hear anything? Is that something that we should ask about? All right.
They want you to do the work yourself.
We need to do the work ourselves.
Yes.
And the truth is our teachers are not necessarily as familiar with their standards as they need to be. So we just need to do this hard, tedious work.
Yep.
If we want to be world class, these teachers have to know their standards in and out, and right now they don't. And that's because there's 17 sets of them and they're complicated and hard, and it's a lot. So it's not like this is a huge lift that will not happen overnight.
Yep.
But
You
we're
have to
going
remember
to start working on it.
Brand new curriculum, all these standards,
Yeah.
you have implementation different. They're gonna be overwhelmed, so we need to.
Yes.
So we're gonna start small. So literacy is our focus, because if you can't read, it's hard to do anything else. So like next year, we're going to just keep hammering on literacy. Literacy is our focus, and we'll start with those. We'll just start small, take a little chunk. And then once they get their confidence built, we start building confidence, they're going to want to dive into those standards, because they're going to, so the other thing is a lot of our teachers still don't understand teaching cross-cutting standards. So they're still stovepiping, right? Which is a terrible, exhausting way to teach. So helping them, and that's the work we'll do some of the summer. Like, for instance, we had a little mind-blowing experiment when I asked the teachers, how many of you have taught time? And they said, oh, we haven't got to that yet. That's an end of the year standard. I said, really? Have you not been teaching handwriting this whole time? And this thing called, wait for it, clock stroke letters. Clock stroke letters, have you been teaching time? Clock stroke letters, the 2, the 10, the 8, the 6, the 4. Have you been teaching time? You have been teaching time this entire time. You just did not realize it, and you haven't connected it with the students. You have been teaching time all year. Clockwise time or counterclockwise time, which is a great conversation to have, right? So the clock goes the other way. But even kindergarten, they know where 10 sits on the clock. So you have been teaching time, but if you don't know you have a time standard, if you don't think out of the box, like, what am I teaching when I'm teaching handwriting, right? In our curriculum, clock stroke letters, you're teaching time. Anyway, this is one example of how I'm trying to help them see, like, you are hitting so many standards. If you stop and think, what am I actually teaching? When you're teaching social studies, are you having your kids write something? Then you're hitting handwriting standards, right? When you're doing math, are they writing? Yes. So anyway, it's just getting them to broaden their idea, not, I'm teaching math. Anyway. So we will be working on that. So these are the needs of our school from the teacher's voice. These are some key learnings, different than wins. These are some of the things that they have learned. The importance of high expectations, behavioral and academic. How they have a better understanding of the Singapore math process now that they've taught through almost a year of the curriculum. They're understanding that there is some flexibility in the order in which they do the content. So the science, there's some room. Again, this goes back to when they start to understand the standards that there's some flexibility in there to maximize standards teaching. The importance of visual supports for all learners, huge, huge, huge. Improved understanding of assessment types and stages. We have a lot of young teachers in our building and they're still trying to understand all these different types of assessments and when you can do them and what they look like. Again, it's not always just a test, right? There's lots of ways we're assessing our children every single day. Importance of keeping SPED binders up to date. So you all know some of our SPED excitement that we've had. I have to give kudos. We have a rock solid SPED team right now. I cannot even believe we pulled in 2 long-term subs, Marva, our consultant, the 2 long-term subs, me trying to hang on the best I can. We are flat out serving our SPED kids like never, like it's crazy what that group is doing. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. But they have binders for all these kids and they're constantly updating them, talking to the classroom teacher, talking to the aide, creating just fantastic resources. Our SPED kids are just like taking off. So exciting. And then, we had a huge key learning with regards to SBAC. We dropped the ball on some of our kids needed accommodations and we didn't realize that until it was too late. So that's a huge learning for next year. We already have in our calendar what we need to do for different kids so that we get the proper accommodation for them. So that was a huge learning. That's a bummer, but that's how you. And then goals for next year. So I'm starting to have the staff think about goals. We didn't set goals for this year because none of us knew what we were doing, but now we can set goals for year 2. And these are some of the examples coming from our teachers: improved communication with general ed teachers about scheduling for our intervention and SPED kids, when to pull them out. We don't want them missing for instruction. Improve the ability to work with a team, earlier assessment of reading. Kim, you'll appreciate someone who said serving our gifted students as much as we serve our SPED students. Continue to volunteer at the school and create better math and ELA intervention groups. So these are some of the goals that the teachers are starting to think that they want to work on for next year. So we'll flush those out and start tracking data to see if they meet those goals. So that's the teacher conversation via slides.
Make sure you stay focused on direct instruction, that direct explicit instruction, because it's easy to start.
Yes.
Well, we gotta serve these and we gotta serve these and we gotta take care of this, and the magic is in that. Even though some of the kids are not maybe following all of it, what happens in a lot of public education is that direct, explicit, what they need to know, even if they're not quite there. That's we scaffold or scaffold with the gifted or scaffold with special ed, but that direct instruction is getting lost in a lot of schools.
So true.
And that's the magic.
Yeah. True.
And that's the hard part, because they've got to learn that brand new curriculum and then, teach those essential standards all year long, spiraling, and that's where the magic happens. It's easy to get distracted.
It is. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right. So that's the academic. So hopefully, Lisa, that answers your academic questions.
Yes,
Lots of
the one that I asked. No, that's great. Lots of interesting stuff. I was just purely curious about how things are going.
Well, and I appreciated it because I was kind of giggling, like we spent all this time talking about everything else, and then I was like, we don't talk about academics very much. So, and we're in school, but that's the nature of the beast.
You'll have your end of the year growth, and then the SBAC this year will only be achievement because we only have 3rd grade, but then next year
Yes.
we'll have growth too, which is really fun.
What's SBAC stand for?
Smarter Balanced Assessment. It's kind of the statewide, well, it's nationwide
So I learned there's 13 states that do SBAC. And I am curious, one of my research things is to look at which of those 13 states have classical schools in them.
Oh.
And if we can't get some data. Because that's one of the big question marks that we have, and we've talked a lot about this as a staff. There's not a lot of data, and I think you guys ran into this when you were writing the charter application. There's not a lot of hard data that classical education moves children. There's a lot of anecdotal data, and we believe it to be true, but there's not a lot of actual research data that shows that this curriculum, Hillsdale curriculum, actually moves students. And so I'm curious, and SBAC is one of those that you could compare statewide. We could ask that question, like other charter schools or other classical schools, how do they perform on the SBAC compared to us? Like that would be more of a one-to-one comparison than comparing us to like ECSD as we grow, right? We have to be careful who we compare. So anyway, I found out there's 13 states, and so now I'm like, which ones have classical schools that are taking the SBAC? Anyway, that's my research brain working.
Yes. Love it. Thank you. That'll work. Now you got a good format for the next one, see?
Yes, if that answered the question.
Okay, moving on to school leader evaluation. So in equally small print, like everything else we've looked at today, somewhere in your, I know, it had to look good, even though you can't read it. I did make the font in the comment part bigger. And so very briefly, it is a challenge because you only have, that scale of 1, 2, and 3. And so I just made a range for each one of them that you can barely read as well. 2.33 to 3.0 exceeds, 1.83 to 2.232 is meets, and then below is approaches. And looking on page 1, I don't know if we want to just open this up or briefly go through. I think I did send this to Bramlin for her to have in front of her prior to today, so she could look through, so she could have, good comments and questions as we go through. But under education exceeds, work ethic exceeds, establishment of the culture exceeds, fostering classical education meets, building an effective leadership team, and we did have some comments on that, was approaches. Moving on to page 2, staff management approaches, faculty hiring meets, faculty management meets, faculty development meets, parent communication exceeds, school handbooks, employee and student family meets. Page 3, relations with the board, SBCSA and Hillsdale exceeds, budget meets, state requirements meets, marketing approaches, disciplinary policy meets, faculty maintenance meets, crisis management meets, succession plan meets, for an overall total of meets 2.11. And then what we thought we'd spend our time on, we can certainly go back and when you guys do your comments, if there's any area you want to highlight, and then just feel free. Under strengths, do you want me to read these? Let's just read these, because this is what we tried to capture most of what was in the rubric. So Dr. Thrawn demonstrates strong, energetic leadership and a clear commitment to fostering a positive, classically driven academic culture. She consistently meets or exceeds expectations in staff work ethic, establishing the school culture, parent communications, relations with boards, the SBCA and the Hillsdale and outside agencies, and completing state requirements. Her first year reflects both adaptability and a strong willingness to learn. Despite the expected challenges of launching a new school, she successfully led through a difficult start and has established a solid and improving school culture. Staff feedback highlights a critical strength of her leadership, prioritizing teaching and learning. As one staff member noted, I get to teach. That came from that 360. Reflecting her focus on removing barriers and distractions so teachers can be effective in the classroom. Dr. Thrawn exemplifies an ownership mindset. She is entrepreneurial, solutions-oriented, and continually seeks opportunities to improve systems. She leads with urgency, makes thoughtful and sometimes difficult decisions, and sets clear priorities. She's collaborative, builds trust, and maintains a positive professional culture by communicating directly and respectively with others. Additionally, she demonstrates a commitment to continuous improvement by learning from experience, building on successes, and challenging the status quo. She communicates with, oh, I didn't move that down enough. Do I have the original? Well, you do a great job. I'll fix that when I send it to you.
Okay.
Geez, we all missed that. I thought I slowed that down. Okay, and then let's just go straight into growth and then we'll open it up. So areas for growth as the year transitions into year 2 and beyond, yay. There are several opportunities to strengthen systems and refine practices to support long-term success. I put these as bullets. Ensure all employment contracts and work agreements are consistently documented and aligned with school and camp policies. And I know you and Joe are working on that. Provide greater clarity and consistency in defining and communicating staff roles and responsibilities to improve organizational effectiveness. The third one, strengthen tracking and timely completion of administrative deadlines. 4, develop and formalize clear written policies for employee attendance, including procedures for reporting, documentation, and alignment with CAP expectations. Next one, implement structured feedback systems such as annual surveys for students, parents, and staff to better inform decision-making and continuous improvement. Shift focus from year 1 operational demands toward instructional leadership by developing data-driven systems for instruction, intervention, and intentional professional development. And then evolve professional development to become more targeted and personalized to better meet the specific needs of staff. That's a walk. Those are walkers. Dr. Thrawn has demonstrated strong self-awareness in her self-evaluation. By the way, some of this I got from her self-evaluation. Acknowledging the heavy operational focus required in year 1 due to new teachers, new curriculum, new students, and the demands of launching a new school. Her year 2 goals, emphasizing fiscal sustainability, school culture, data-driven instructional systems, feedback mechanisms, and targeted professional development align well with the board's expectations and feedback provided in this evaluation. That's what I was getting at. Her self-evaluation was pretty consistent with the feedback we were giving. I thought that was wonderful. So I wish I would.
I pulled up the PDF. And
Thank
it's
you.
here.
Will you
want me
finish
to read
reading
the rest
that?
of
Yeah. Communicated a clear vision for that.
Communicates a clear vision for the school and works diligently to align resources and actions to achieve that vision. Overall, she is a significant asset to the NCAE staff, students, parents, and community. She is a strong leader for the school community, and we are grateful to have her to help.
That was so important to include.
Yes.
Fix that, send it to you.
It's correct in the PDF that you sent to us.
Oh, good.
So
This is my printout. Oh, because I increased the font to 16 or something. So it's so small. I knew I wouldn't be able to read it, so I must have cut it off. So I'm thinking we go around and if there's anything you guys want to add or clarify, because some of especially in the areas for growth and improvement, some of it may not be really clear. Like one of the ones, Hank, I wasn't even sure what I meant because your brain's way up here and mine's a little bit lower. But yeah, just open it up. And I don't know that we need to go in any order. If there's just any comments or thoughts, and then Brandon, if you have questions or clarity or comments.
Me start?
Sure.
Yeah, you're incredible, Randall, and don't let anybody tell you any differently. How you're appreciated by the board, me as an individual, for what you do. Coming from an administrative side of education, you have more hats on than I ever wore. With not even an eighth of the number of students that I work with, it's just incredible. The one thing that I added as part of my survey or my report when I put back is just to use for areas of growth, use those feedback surveys from your staff, from parents, and from your students. Even though they're young right now, they will still have things to say that will make you go, wow, I did something phenomenal, or, oh, that's something we can look at. So that's my only thing, that look to all your constituents to see what else there is out there. But you're doing a great, tremendous job. Thank you.
like to, see if Mr. Payne thinks you have gravitas now.
Oh, that's a good one.
It talks about gravitas in that book.
It does talk about gravitas. We'll let Hank finish and then I can read a section on gravitas
Oh, that's good.
that I learned about.
I don't remember specifically which of my comments Amy's referencing there, but the one thing I would really like to see you do over the next year, which is something that we just started working on, is treating the budget not as a check in the box for the state, but treating the budget as a governing document.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're doing, so. I think that's probably my biggest, would like to see.
That's exactly what it was. The goal moving forward is for Dr. Farr on the board to treat the budget more as a guiding document rather than a mutable formality. It was like too many big words and I had no idea what you were talking about, but thank you for knowing. That was the one I was like, huh? I'm typing it up, but I don't know what I'm even saying. But you know what that is, and you guys are gonna be meeting to make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is.
that's it.
This is more of a. This isn't a suggestion or a comment for you specifically. It's more being in this school as much as I've been able to be. Coming at it from a different perspective than just being a teacher in the classroom now, and stepping back and watching what everybody does and can do and should do and can't do. Brandon, I don't know how you do it, and I'm also talking for you guys as administrators. I don't know how you can be effective at every aspect of running a school. And Brandon and I had this conversation, and I told her I wanted to bring this up, that I feel like the curriculum, implementing the curriculum is of the utmost importance. And I don't feel like she has the time and the bandwidth in order to do that effectively and also do everything else that you are required and supposed to do. And I don't know how this would work out, and I wish we were a member school for Hillsdale so that we could get the support from them for the teachers. But somehow I just feel like if that could be taken off your plate to a certain degree and have a person that's not tied to these teachers every day and having to look at them every day and talk to them about a myriad of subjects, if we could somehow get somebody in here on an ongoing basis to be the curriculum specialist and support those teachers and hold them accountable and help them learn, because it sounds like that's what they want. But I don't see how you can do it as a one-man show doing what you're trying to do. And that's not to say anything against you, because I don't think that anybody can do what you're expected to do.
No, I think that's.
So if you guys could come up with $50,000 for a curriculum specialist, I would really appreciate that.
Me too.
Would you sign up to become that person? Would you sign up to become that person?
No, I'm stuck at confrontation. I wouldn't be able to do it, but we need it.
Well, I told Brandon too, I said, we really need to revisit, and I volunteered to do this, I'm gonna reach out to Mr. Gravitas himself and just see, when do we reapply for this member status?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because we have now, I mean, you know, we're not perfect, and this was my comment to you, Brandon, is that this is everybody's year of infancy. It's CAMS, it's us as a board, it's you, and we can't be perfect, and all we can do is learn. And I mean, I applaud you for just having the temperament to not throw your hands in the air and walk out the door, because I think I would. But I mean, I think that, I think that we have certainly demonstrated to Hillsdale that we have put our resources, our money, and our efforts where our mouth is, and our support of you, and so I will reach out to Ben and see when that.
Do you have
when we
any
can-
idea? Like, is it
I have
like
no
a
idea.
5-year or?
No, I don't think it has anything, I think it has to do
There's any-
with some arbitrary thing that, like everything at Hillsdale.
Okay,
Some arbitrary time that they're gonna say, yeah, you can reapply or whatever.
okay.
But at least I agree. I mean, I had a email from Eric just the other day and I just said, man, we are trying to rock this with every little bit of setback that you obviously have it in your year one. But I said, we're trying to proceed with fidelity and, Brandolyn's doing a great job and we need Hillsdale member support.
Yes,
So,
yes.
well, I think I will put that on my plate and try to, I already told you this, but anyways, I think it's a good point, and I think we need help. And Brandolyn needs help and she deserves it, and we deserve it, for
Yeah.
gosh sake. I'm just saying, but anyway,
I don't know that there's any reason we can't just reapply. I mean, we need to talk to them anyway, but I don't think there's anything that says if we accepted you as a candidate member school and then you decided not to continue with us, you can't reapply for
no,
some number of years.
I agree with you. I don't think that's it. I think
Yeah.
I just need to reach out to them
Yes.
and.
I wasn't here for that process. Did they give you some feedback?
Yes. Yeah, we were accepted and then
Yeah.
we decided to hire Brandolyn and they said she didn't have enough gravitas. And so we got
So they
booted.
could be enough.
And so we had to
That was
choose.
it.
We had
Well,
to
she
choose
didn't have her
between
administrative-
Brandolyn
Yeah.
and staying as a member school.
Yeah.
And so we gave up being a member school.
Yeah,
Because we
that
believe
was
in her.
that was the long and short of it, period.
She didn't have an administrative degree. Check.
Yeah.
She didn't have that proven.
Wow.
Check. So I think it is worth revisiting, so I think we're
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
there.
So we'll see what they say. But I mean, that would provide exactly what you're offering, Kim, without a $50,000 price tag.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, I think we need to explore that first.
Yes.
And,
It will require more reporting.
Of course. it
well, maybe not.
But it won't be in year one anymore. It'll be year
right.
two. Of everything else.
We're on to something else.
But
Yeah.
anyways,
That's strong.
I'll report next. I'll call Ben.
So excited. It'd be nice.
That's your
I
gravitas space.
My conflict. If I was all the conflict.
They don't have any problem.
Don't catch him as long as way to the
She's Misty.
Emails me at least once a month saying, we really need to reach out for a conversation. Are you kidding? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Well, I'll call. Bam. Besides that, we also have a few little, inroads with the fact that the people who sit on their board of directors gave us $250,000 for our school. So that helps, right?
Sure.
And now they've recently added someone else to the board of directors who lives in Nevada. And I am contacting every single person I know so that I can get her contact information.
Yeah.
Her name is Julie Teal. She lives in Incline.
Oh, nice.
So I've reached out to the Office of Alumni Affairs and several others.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get us connected.
It's very promising.
But anyway, I'll work on that.
I'll just add to that. I'm so grateful, Brandolyn, that every time I show up in this building, you're still here.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Every time I walk in and it still says your name on the door, still a good day. And reflecting on this school year, we put a lot into getting this far. And about 8 weeks into the school year, I walked in here and I said, what have we done? And I was not feeling very optimistic. And this is because I've never been in administration or been this close into a school or started a school or anything else. And it had nothing to do with you. It was just sort of the whole thing being utter chaos. And now I walk in the school and it feels completely different. It feels like a school. It feels like a community. It feels like the kids want to be here. Most of them. And the staff want to be here. And like, we're actually doing something that's different for the people that we are serving. And that feels so good. And I attribute that all to you. So.
I'd just like to add that it was Lisa's dad, Rex, Joe DeBrega, and I that were in charge of this school leader committee and essentially made the recommendation to the board that we go with Brandolin and give up our Hillsdale member status. And the board agreed, and I think it was the best decision we made.
Absolutely, it was a contested decision too.
Yes.
Yep.
It was a lot.
Yeah, that was a
Thank you. The challenge is we didn't know you, so we had to rely on them, but we trusted them significantly, you know, because that was a hard decision to get rid of all that support. We gotten approved, but it's the right thing to do. You are the perfect fit.
There was a Facebook post, I don't know if you guys saw it, there was a parent or a person that reached out and said, can anybody tell me something about the charter school, the classical charter school? And then you go in the comments and you get all the different stuff. But 99% of the comments were positive, and the one about your leadership and your what you're doing at the school, whatever parent was so positive and so complimentary. And one of the things that another parent said that I thought was awesome is do you call them parent academies? Yeah. She she had a paragraph this long about how effective they were, how she was very complimentary. So the whole Facebook thread or whatever you call it was so positive. So that's the public part of it too.
I think that's my greatest appreciation well, I know it is my greatest appreciation is that you choose every day to show up with that attitude of just whatever comes work, you turn it and you make it work. And it's like, how do you, like she said, I'm like, I don't know if this is touch and go. And here you come the next day and you shine. And that's so important. Even though inside your head, you might be going, what the heck's going on with this? How am I going to figure this out? You have that sparkle, that brilliance, right? You have what it takes. I mean, it's an amazing attribute that I actually wished I had more of. It's amazing, fantastic. This school wouldn't be where it is without that. So you're the spark that keeps it going. Oh, greatly appreciate it.
Keep going.
Yeah, we can all improve.
Yeah, keep going.
Always room for improvement.
That's right.
And maybe this is a good time. Well, first of all, thank you all. I don't obviously do this alone. My success is your success because of you, because of the teachers, the staff. I just get to have a leader title, but it truly has been an honor to serve you guys and the community and our parents. And I can honestly say it's the hardest job I've ever had. Yeah, it's the most awesome job I've ever had. And I think I've actually broke myself, meaning I have, with the degree, the school, like I have finally found, like I found my maximum, which is pretty cool. Like I've been searching for it for a long time. So it's kind of cool to have found it. Now to back off. Like now I have to back off of it and recognize, ooh, I was at a breaking point. But thank you for noticing all of that. But
can I say something while you're still on that? One of the best advices I ever got from a superintendent, because I used to, I was like the energetic bunny and the ADHD, just run around, because you do have 17 hats you run at any given time. It's just the nature of the beast. And he said, I would run around 900 miles an hour. He said, Amy, you have to operate at about 70% on any given day. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, because you have to be prepared for that emergency or that situation. And if you're running at max, you're at capacity and you don't have a chance to absorb that in. So don't overextend yourself, because then when that time comes when you need to be at max, the lockdown or the emergency or the police walk in or the mad parent, you'll have the abilities be it. So give yourself that grace to not always have to be running perfect, right?
Yeah, I learned that, not for.
Yeah, so you hit it this year, now back off and let yourself be human.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited about year 2 and beyond, super excited. So this gravitas came up because, yeah, I took it to heart that I was the reason we're not. I kind of like, on my grave, so we're like, we're trying to.
Yeah, you're
gonna put that. She's just like, it was me. Anyway,
You've got to change this. She's learned gravitas. That's
so here's what I learned about gravitas, and maybe this is perhaps gives us some insight. So they're talking about Lincoln, and the chapter leads up to like Lincoln was not anything anybody expected. He wasn't that great. He was just kind of like this guy that went into public service, and then suddenly becomes the president, and everybody's are like, oh my gosh, can this guy even do this? And then it says, when Lincoln gave orders from the White House, his wry, W-R-I, is that right? Humor of his would become the element of the high old Roman virtue. It was comitas, or the relief that seasons gravitas. That is the sense of heavy responsibility. And then it goes on to talk about how Lincoln was a man of humility, generosity, and then it goes on to say, strong in his sadness, the man found the power to endure with humility and generosity the burden of his presidential office. When Chief Justice Taney, old, shrunken, and shriveled like a galvanized corpse, administered the inaugural oath to the first president elected by the Republican Party, the vanity of human wishes was stamped across the face of the strange giant in the new black suit, whose lackluster eyes stared down upon the crowd, the soldiers, and the cannon. Gravitas had been conferred upon him. And then it goes on to talk about how he demonstrated this thing they called gravitas, this sense of heavy responsibility.
Well, you sure had that this year.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if in my interview, maybe, and this is what I'm learning, my positivity, I think, is sometimes misinterpreted that I don't know what I'm doing or I don't have the capacity to do the hard thing. Is what I'm learning. And so perhaps they did not perceive that I understood the burden that I would be accepting as school leader. And the truth is, I had no clue what I was doing. The truth is, but I think that really resonated with me. And then when I saw that word, I just had to giggle, and I texted Dorothy. I'm like, I think I better understand perhaps where Hillsdale was coming from. It maybe helps give us a glimpse of what that means to them, gravitas. So anyway, it's a ride, you guys. It's been a ride of a lifetime. I will treasure this forever. And this is just the beginning. Yeah. So thank you all for that support. Like I said, I couldn't do it without supportive board and supportive staff. We're a good team. We just keep it going.
Well, and when I was doing the growth and improvement, I'm like, these are all things that we have ownership on too, like these policies and, just so many things that I took for granted as administrator because I had a district office that provided, here, you need to go on extended leave for family this, boom, oh, you're leaving, I'm quitting tomorrow, okay, here's the paperwork you need to sign, all that legal stuff, everything, I gotta put you on leave because without pay, because of this egregious thing or with pay. Every policy was just, we already had it. All we did was refine it as new NRS came out, where it's like, we are responsible to support so much of this as well.
We have to create every piece of it.
Every piece of it. And that's where founders and Steve Lambert and those folks, anytime you would say, hey, can you send me a couple of examples of this? NEPF will help because it does have your student surveys, your staff surveys, all that's embedded into it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I've had lots of people, parents and community members and people come up to me and ask how the school is going. And I always say, it's going really well, and talk about the culture and how the kids are doing. And I say, and there are so many things that we didn't know.
Yes.
Even with all of us in the room, And I always talk about how like the first time we needed more than one substitute, we realized we didn't have a long enough substitute list.
Yeah.
And things that you'll never have to do again. You'll never, now we are starting to work through some of those things, and now there are gonna be all the new things that we
Right,
don't
so
know.
always be something.
But this year of not knowing, because we don't have any history with some of this stuff, it's been.
And even with administrators and Joe, it's like, oh, we don't have that, because again, we come from districts. So even we were caught off guard a lot of time, like, oh my gosh, we don't even know policy that's.
Yeah.
Strong, geez, it's amazing.
It's crazy, it's awesome, it's awesome.
It is, and and I have to give credit to the charter authority, because they've been very supportive. They are, really have been,
Super helpful.
as we've.
And super, you know, the charter authority, I was so intimidated by them at the beginning. And now, like, I had like our SBAC computer issue, I had to call Brandon at the charter authority, and I just got his cell phone number, I just call him up, and like, they're such helpful, beautiful humans.
Yes.
Like, they really are humans. And I don't know, I guess I thought they were something else, but I just think it's amazing the support we have and like their willingness, and like, he's like, let me check, let me help you, and we were just problem solving, we had a 3-way call going, and it's just awesome, the support that we have.
Do you know what
They want us to be successful.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I read somewhere the percentage in Nevada that students attend charter schools versus public schools. Do you know what that is by any chance? I mean, it's growing by leaps and bounds. It's huge. It's a huge percentage.
70,000 students.
Yeah,
in the
it's actually
charter authority.
70,000?
Like 70,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
they have quite, SPCSA has a huge portfolio now. I think they have 80 schools that they are managing, I think right around 80. I think.
So it behooves them to be supportive and,
I'm sure they're overwhelmed beyond.
oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Imagination.
Google says it's 15% of Nevada's K-12 students are in the SBCSA.
Yeah.
And they're kind of in the same
That's a
boat.
lot.
Yeah, they're having to develop all their.
Oh, they're thinking the
procedures
same
and-
goal.
Yeah, they
They're
really
trying to
are.
figure it out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've been very, supportive.
Well, and just comparing, starting the other charter school and working with that entity versus the little bit I worked with this one, there's no comparison. These guys are world-class compared. And it's just, I mean, they're new and they're working, but the last, it was,
They're also pro charter, where. before
yes.
That
Yes,
makes a huge difference.
Black eye on, why are you?
yes.
Thank you. Yep.
That's my first.
Okay, any other comments on her evaluation?
Do you have any questions?
I did not, no, I thought it was well done, I thought it was well written.
Pretty written.
And I'll review, I guess my only, maybe a statement more, like, I'll take all this into account, look at my goals that I put in my self-evaluation. I apologize, I thought I sent it to you guys. And then, I'll update it, and then we'll just like confirm that that's what the direction we wanna go for next year, now that we are all tidied up here. But yeah, that's good. So thank you.
And then maybe in the fall, we'll do a,
Attention,
yeah, like what
in
do
mid-year.
when you looked at all of this, what are the tours? Don't overwhelm yourself, I have, but what are the,
Yeah.
and another thing about NEPF that I liked is like, we all have strengths and weaknesses. And what they said with teachers and administrators, because everybody's evaluated with it, is you're never going to get good at your weaknesses. So just account for them and figure out how to make sure you don't get in legal trouble, right? Based on the fact that you're not good at this, this, and this. And then hone in on that. Spend 80% of your time with your strengths and making them the best you can. And the same with teachers. Some of your teachers are just knocking it out of the park with, say, reading instruction, but they're a little weak with classroom management or whatever it is. Get them what they can manage, but build on strengths and just address weaknesses so they don't become problematic. And the same with you. You knock it out of the park with what you're good at and just fill the gaps and never worry about being excellent at everything. It'll never happen. And we don't need to beat ourselves up for it.
Insane.
Okay, we are on E, update on the public event to be held at the 7th Canyon Ranch on July 18th, and that is Lisa.
Nothing to report. but truly not much to report. We've identified several folks who are interested in helping support. I have an email that I have drafted and not yet sent to any of those people, but it is on my to-do list this week. But we have the date nailed down with Joe. I think that what our plan is right now is to sort of defer to Joe's recommendations for food and timing and other bar and music and all the things, because he's done it there so many times. Let him give us the great ideas and then we can sign off on them. For this team, again, put it on your calendar, please. We need everyone in this room to be there. It is July 18th, which is a Saturday. It will most likely be 4 to 7 or 3 to 6-ish afternoon and evening to allow families to come with kids, and be a very broad celebration of the school and the community and the staff and the donors and everything. Just hopefully something joyful and fun where we can all connect in the summer. I'd also like to ask each person on the board to bring some kind of raffle basket so that we can just do a raffle, sell some raffle tickets, have a table with baskets. We'll put cups out. People can put their tickets into whichever cup. So it can be anything. You can go and get it from somewhere, or it can be, stuff that you go and buy and put together yourself. You can ask a company to donate. But I think if every board member will bring one, I know we have some other helpers who are willing to bring some as well, then we'll at least have a few and can hopefully raise a little bit of money through raffle tickets.
So auction type thing.
Good idea.
Yeah. Yes, and if you were able to secure a nicer item for silent auction, that's fine too. We can make arrangements for that. So, I think that's about it for now. Again,
Joe Goldman, and just keep it light.
yes,
He already has all the best that
yes.
he knows that works there.
So I will work with him this week to start getting some of those secured to make sure we can get in their calendars.
Yeah.
And then I'll send the email to all the folks who've expressed interest in helping so that we can keep moving forward on the other details.
Thank you. Okay, public comment. We have any public
Do you
comment?
have anyone else on the?
Everybody checked out?
Oh, Andrew's still with us.
All
Go
right.
Andrew, yay.
Okay, board member reflection.
Okay, so I have a couple things. One, and this is just a suggestion. I've had, and Brandon, this probably needs to run by you first, but anyways, I've had remember the email from Joe about the thank you notes, that he
Donation.
didn't. So there've been a lot of, there's been a delay between people donating something and then it actually getting to my desk for me to send the thank yous. So, my suggestion, it doesn't matter, but is if we could send the donations to me first so that I can write the thank you notes and then I bring them to you to deposit or whatever, whenever that you have time to do that. Just in the old days, that's kind of how things happen. The donations, just because of the nature of the beast, the donations came to me and then I did the deposits. But if they could still come to me first, I do the thank you notes and then bring them to you to deposits whenever you have time, then at least those thank you notes get done in a timely manner.
Sure.
So just a suggestion, if that works for you, Brandon.
Let's try it. I don't think there's a problem with that.
And on the very much brighter side, on the subject of donations, Jim Meeks and his wife Connie and Vogue Laundry in 2 separate donations are giving us $25,000 each this year.
Very nice.
And next year, another $25,000 each to a total contribution of $100,000.
Wow.
Over the next,
Yay, Dorothy.
and also the promise, whether this happens or not, that we will be, this will be, mentioned in his estate.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
Really?
Wow.
so my suggestion was going to be to Jim that we do the 2, so the 25,000 is one from Jim and Connie Meeks personally, and the next one from Vogue Laundry.
Okay.
And I don't have those checks yet, but he'll bring them to me. And as soon as I get those, I'll write those, thank you notes, and then I'll bring those to you. And, so, my suggestion is going to be to him, that we use those $25,000 donations for classrooms.
Yes.
Because I think that would be a little more bang for their buck and that would be done.
Yes.
So,
That would pay off the furniture
Yes.
for this year.
That's huge.
That's huge, Dorothy. Yay!
Good thing to end the meeting on. Money.
We can exhale a little bit.
Did you talk to Todd?
Um,
Did you talk to Todd?
I didn't, I
Okay.
never, I can hear back from
No,
them.
so you're supposed to not care. Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, that's so helpful to know because Hank and I met and we were going to be like screeching every penny of every possible for to last in this quarter to pay off that furniture. So now we can,
It's done.
That's
It's
huge.
paid off.
that's an exhale. That's a huge.
And also,
exhale.
like Lisa and I have talked, we both talked to the credit union, and they are gonna give us something, what's coming, I'm not sure yet exactly,
Yes.
but we should
They
have
have
that money
committed.
before this end of this year, there'll be monies in that pocket too. And I have one other donor that's still on a fence, so hopefully maybe by the next week.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Such great support we have.
We
Alright.
also have, an outstanding $14,000 grant application with Kinross. I talked to Fallon today. She did receive it. They are going to look at it. What I put into that, or what we put into that application is $14,000 because that would buy the state. They were unwilling to commit to a $25,000 classroom sponsorship, but $14,000 is what we need for the 2 additional classrooms for next year. For the student furniture. So the thought was if we could get that sponsored, we'd at least have the furniture for the students who are gonna be coming in. She said they'll be looking at that sometime. I'm not sure when. And then we're completing a grant application for about $12,000 for the community foundation. Requesting money for the library to purchase the necessary book shelving. To get the library.
Oh,
completed.
and on that furnishings too, they're closing their office. And I told Brandon and I also mentioned Lisa that we can go up there, we can take whatever we want. So,
Let's go.
yeah. So anyway, but when I was there, I didn't know what we needed or but I figure if it's free, we ought to take whatever we can. If we could sell it or have an auction, or I don't know, something, but at any rate, Brandon, do you think you'll have time to go look and see what's there?
Yeah, let me know when.
I did, like I said, I sent you an email, maybe you didn't get it, but just to say, oh, I didn't see it.
Maybe we crossed. No, I said, yeah, let's go look.
But I'm just saying, you go whenever. I've
Well,
just got
let's go
a
up there.
ton on my plate right now,
Okay.
and so it is.
So is there somebody there like normal?
Yeah, and I
hours?
gave you the names in the email. You can ask for either Terry Gage or Joyce Sabala. And it's in an email to you,
Okay,
Brandon.
I'll
So
find it.
Terry, Joyce, or Missy.
Missy knows.
Yeah, and and they are, but you've got to go sooner than later
I'll go
because
tomorrow.
they want to get it when whatever you want. I know there were some file cabinets and I think there were some bookcases. That's what reminded me of.
We can put them somewhere and then, like I said, if we grow or.
Okay.
There's a lot of desks and things like that, which I'm sure maybe we don't need right now, but I mean, it might be worth a storage unit for somewhere down the road. I don't know.
Teacher desks.
But it's all like really nice oak furniture and stuff like that.
Okay,
So.
I'll make a point to go there tomorrow.
Yeah, don't shy away from a storage container if necessary, because that expansion, every year we're gonna have new.
Yeah, and it's not that, easier to store it than try to buy it down the road.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
I'm so excited about the classroom furniture.
Yeah. And a couple grants outstanding.
Now you have to come back to work tomorrow.
Sorry, guys.
Next board meeting, you said May 19th?
May 19th, starting at 2:00, public hearing and then at 2:30, we'll do the regular board meeting.
So it's 2 meetings, but same day.
2 meetings, same day, same start time.
Okay. So,
So start time of 2:00.
Perfect. And meeting adjournment. Okay, meeting adjourned at whatever time we have right now. 4:28. Well, that was a good note to end on.